How are you doing? My name is Pusnan Yiri. I teach leaders the secrets of personal development. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about something that has been bothering my mind. That is, I noticed that especially in Africa, Nigeria to be specific, many parents have worked for 35 years. They retired, and after their retirement, many of them went back to their villages. And I noticed the decline in their connection, in their relationships. I noticed loneliness. I noticed frustration. And, um, and this is very disturbing. This is very disturbing. And I have to ask you a few questions. How can somebody work as a police officer for 35 years and not have a security company? What is the knowledge about? What is the knowledge for? What about the 35 years of experience? For nothing? Then after that, you retire and return to the village in the name of retirement. How can somebody be a teacher for 35 years and doesn't have a school, doesn't have a foundation, doesn't have a counseling center, and the person is staying at home in the name of retirement? How can somebody be a pastor for 35 years and retire, and now he or she is just staying at home as a retiree? What stops that person from starting a counseling ministry or even a foundation? I once told a scholar who told me that he has retired, I said, scholars don't retire. How can you be a scholar? You have a PhD, you're a professor, you have lectured for many years, you have a huge library, and now in the name of retirement, you are sitting at home that you are a retiree. This is not fair. What is your experience for? What is your knowledge for? How can you just sit at home in the name of being a retiree, thinking that's the end of your productivity? It is not the end of your productivity. This thing has been killing us in Africa. Parents only work for themselves, they die, and then children will take over their poverty and continue for themselves, and they will also die. No generational legacy in most cases. Let me give you an example with my father. My father, during his time, invested in so many books. Now, most of the books he left behind cannot be found easily in the market. They can't. I doubt if the publishers of these books still have them in stock. After his death, I inherited the library. I added new books that probably he didn't, were not available during his time. Now I'm expecting my children to add their own. That is generational legacy. That is generational legacy. Is it even fair that after working for an organization for 35 years, you have invested your time, your ideas, your energy, they now tell you that you should leave? Is it fair? It is not fair. It is not fair. Why are they sending you away? Because you are no longer productive? No, that's not the only reason. They're sending you away because you know the secrets of that organization. That's one of the reasons. They can't manage you. You are now a consultant. Then after sending you away, they put you on pension, and now you are at home waiting for your pension every month. We cannot develop this continent like this. We cannot develop this continent like this. Let me give you an example in the Bible. I read the story. It has never been stated there. Joseph, with his talent, with his experience, helped Pharaoh, helped Egypt to develop. He developed Egypt using his experience, but there is no record of Joseph developing his village. What he did was he migrated his people, they left, and they joined him in Egypt. And when he died, they became slaves. A generation came up. The Bible says that generation doesn't know. The people there, they do not know Joseph. So the people became slaves. That is why I am advocating. I am telling you, look, you have to build what you can own. This salary you are enjoying in that office, if it is not your own company, one day they will ask you to leave. And when you leave, that earning will end with you. We cannot develop this continent if we don't build what we can own. This is the story. A wise person will leave an inheritance for his children's children. It has to be Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. There was a time I was sharing this formula with my first son. He said to me, Daddy, you are Isaac. You are Isaac. Dig the wells for us. Dig the wells for us. They are Africans. We cannot continue the way our grandparents did and our parents did. Because when our grandparents work as employees, for 35 years, they ended up in poverty. And our fathers inherited their poverty. Now we are all going to inherit our father's poverty. This narrative has to change. Am I saying that it is wrong for you to work as an employee? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that as you work as an employee, whether with a private organization or with a government, don't wait until 35 years. Work if you must, leave when you need to leave, and start your own. You see, if you don't build what you can own, you will only be working on somebody's farm. The person will be having several bags in his store, but you will not have any in your store. I can tell you this, if we solve the problem of poverty in Nigeria and Africa, beyond Nigeria, in this continent called Africa, that is the best way for us to leave behind generational legacy. But if we don't do that, each generation is building, its own system. It's not going to work like that. It has to be a generational thing. So since maybe your grandfather did not build what he could own, or your father didn't build his own, now it is your turn. Stop that tradition of parents handing over poverty to their children and children handing over to their grandchildren. And when I talk about poverty here, I'm not just talking about lack of money, even though lack of money is part of it. We have history poverty. What do you know about your lineage? What do you know about your people? We have poverty in philosophy. Our way of thinking. How narrow is your way of thinking? That is another form of poverty. We have spiritual poverty. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Do you know God? What do you know about God? You don't know him, but you want him to help you. That's another form of poverty. We have poverty in our lack of creativity. You are always waiting for somebody to bail you out. That will not work. It will not work. It has to change. That's another form of poverty. We cannot continue this way. God has given us talents. God has given us opportunities. Look at opportunities here in Nigeria. Look at opportunities in Africa. But many of us are not utilizing their creative ability. It is important for us to arise and build what we can own. In my next video, I will tell you about how I think you can build what you can own. But for now, I am challenging you to engage in personal development. Start with your philosophy. Upgrade your philosophy. Your philosophy may be your biggest disadvantage right now. Identify your area of calling in God's master plan and develop it effectively. After that, discover the right network for you. Don't be part of a group that is taking away from you. They are not giving. They are not encouraging you. They are not developing you. They are only developing their interests. Be part of people that will join hands with you to develop each other. And then number 4, become a doer. Become somebody who gets the job done. Don't become a procrastinator. I am worried about these things. Look at how we are struggling, especially in Nigeria, because of this hard economy. Many people are crying. Many people are complaining. It is time for us to change the narrative. Build what you can own. Solve the problem of poverty in your family. It is hard. It is very hard. But we have to be the people to do it. Make up your mind. Say to yourself that I will end this legacy of poverty in my family. Whatever the type of poverty is disturbing your family, I will end it in this family. I will not hand over. Say this to yourself. I will solve the problem of poverty in my lineage, and then I will not hand over whatever form of poverty to the next generation. and then you get to work. Build what you can own. Build what you can own. I'm telling you now, if you don't listen to this advice, well, you may call me and tell me about your regret after retirement. Where you are working now, I want you to go to where they put the photos of the previous leaders. Look at their photos there. They were there before you, they left. Where are they? You will also leave. But before you leave, I'm advising you to start thinking of what you can build, to start thinking of how you can build what you can own, how you can turn your vision into products and services and systems that will help you to build what you can own. Don't be like Joseph. He built Egypt, he supported Pharaoh, but eventually his people became slaves. My name is Pusnam Yeri. I am passionate about your personal development, and I encourage you to experience freedom because somebody says freedom is sweet. Thank you very much. Bye bye.